La vidéo que vous allez voir dans quelques instants est une explication de Daniel Smith en date du 29 août 2025. À la discrétion du spectateur contenu graphique, la première ministre de l'Alberta, Daniel Smith, montre le contenu sexuel explicite qui a été trouvé dans certaines bibliothèques scolaires tout en réagissant à la décision du Conseil scolaire public de Edmonton de retirer des livres non sexuels. Voici la vidéo. Merci à 1000 traductions.
Just circling back on the books that were released by Edmonton Public School yesterday, or it wasn't released by them, but it came out. We understand your objections to certain graphic content in certain books, but this includes, obviously, Margaret Atwood, Brave New World, Maya Angelou. Do you have issue with the books that are on this list, and what next steps are you looking to take?
Look, I think I'm going to have to show the screen here, because people aren't kind of getting what it is we're trying to do here. We are trying to take graphic pornographic images out of elementary schools so that kids are not exposed to age-inappropriate material. So I'm going to leave it on for 15 seconds. I'm warning you that the content may be disturbing and it's not appropriate for young users. Viewer discretion is advised. I know that the cameras probably can't print it on the evening news tonight without probably facing some kind of Broadcast Standards Council complaint. And I know that I would get delisted from Facebook for showing these kind of images on Facebook because they're pornographic. That is what we are trying to address. There's another one here. Please take a look at it so that, and I'd invite all of the school trustees to take a look at it too. We have tried to be as polite about this so that people understand what it is. Here's another one so you can have another look at the kind of material that we think should not be exposed to young children aged 7 years old. And I think we've got one more that we would like to show you as well. Here is another example. So I don't know how much more clear we could be that what we are aiming to, this all began because these were the images that parents were showing us that were accessible to children in elementary school libraries. And so we asked school boards to use their discretion to identify books that might not be age appropriate for elementary school children. And then and Edmonton Public is clearly doing a little vicious compliance over what the direction is. And so if they need us to hold their hand through the process to identify what kind of materials are appropriate for senior high school students, what kind of materials are appropriate for junior high school students, and what kind of materials are appropriate for elementary school students, we will more than happily work with them to work through their list one by one so we can be super clear about what it is we're trying to do. We are trying to take sexually explicit content out of elementary schools that is inappropriate for me to show on the television news at night, and so it is inappropriate for 7-year-olds to see. That's what our objective is.
Thank you.
And we'll go to our next at the mic.
Hi, Premier. Mark Villani with CTV Calgary. You've pretty much answered my question. I had a similar question to the book ban. I just wanted to ask about, some of those other classic texts.
And no, it's not a book ban.
Pardon me, sorry?
It's not a book ban.
I just wanted to ask about this list here. One of the books on the list was Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. I know in the past you've said that Rand is a hero and a guiding light of yours, documented as far back as the 2010 and 2012 elections. Just any thoughts on that book being removed from this list, and any other classic texts that are concerning to be taken away?
I didn't read Atlas Shrugged until I was 22. I had a friend in grade 10 who read it. Maybe we should make it mandatory reading in high school because it is a pretty influential book, and I think it does really articulate how important it is that we value our entrepreneurs and we value a free enterprise economy. So maybe that should give you some idea. Maybe you don't read passages of Ayn Rand in kindergarten reading time, but maybe when you get to be in junior high or high school, the level of understanding about the concepts in there are absolutely appropriate for school children of that age.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Leah Mushett for the Western Standard. I was going to ask you similarly about the public school, Edmonton public school thing. Also, do you think that the board there, like banning those classic books, not the sexually explicit ones, do you think that's also a way for them to kind of point the finger at the government at all? What do you think?
Well, you know, we trust the judgment of our school boards, and that's because we do have a more decentralized system, and they've identified books that, in their interpretation, may have problematic content. And so my education minister has pledged to work with any school board who might be confused about what it is we're trying to accomplish, so that we can go through and we can identify which school books are appropriate for elementary, which are appropriate for junior high, and which are appropriate for high school. I think that they've overreached on this policy. They've obviously put books on there that there was never any intention of having them target those books. But I think we need to exercise a little judgment here. I think we made it super clear, the things that prompted this policy. And if we need to be a bit more graphic, there's lots of other images, but that's the point. Graphic images depicting the kind of acts that I just showed in the video are not appropriate for elementary school kids. That's our starting point. And if we need to refine the policy with the school boards because they're not understanding it, then we will go through that with them.